Is it worth anything? Today's subject is going to surprise a lot of you, and I want to make sure that you hang around to the end because I'm going to tell you about the ones that are worth the most money. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about wrenches, vintage wrenches, as in tools. So a recent visit to the antique shop shows that most of the wrenches there were going for about $8, $10 if they were just old rusty ones that no one had cleaned up. They got up into the $20 range if someone had actually taken a little time to clean them up, and they'll rub them down with oil and they look really nice. So you're thinking to yourself, well, why would people collect wrenches? Well, first of all, vintage wrenches are like awesome tools. I mean, these were made in a time where they were made out of forged steel, and they're seriously still great. I mean, they work really well. Some people might buy them because it's a nostalgia thing. It reminds them of their father or their grandfather's tools. There are so many different kinds of wrenches, okay? So there are box wrenches, open-end wrenches, pipe wrenches, adjustable wrenches, alligator wrenches. There are wrenches of all shapes and sizes. So it can be a really interesting thing to collect. There's also the fact that some people actually will take wrenches and make them into art pieces because, again, forged steel, it's great to weld with. So which ones are worth the most money? Well, I can tell you whenever I go and clean out an estate, I will gather up all the wrenches and then I sort through them. And what you're looking for are the ones with names on. Ford, Fordson, Mack, Indian, John Deere, Alice Chalmers, okay? So realize that when these vintage vehicles and tractors and things like that were sold, they actually came with a toolkit. So of course, people back then didn't keep the toolkit necessarily by itself, but they just kind of threw it in with their toolbox. So the tools got separated out. So if you have someone who is restoring a vintage tractor or an old Indian motorcycle or an old Ford, they're looking for the original tool set. So they will search high and low until they find all the various pieces. So how much do they go for? Boy, some of them bring muku bucks, that's all I can tell you. I mean, there is such a range of what they sell for, and it depends what you have, what the condition is, how many of them you have, and who's looking at any given time. So, are they worth something? Wrenches are worth something, but if you've got some with names on, those are really worth something. So, go out now and check in your garage and your workshop and your toolbox and see if you've got any good ones. If you would like to learn more about what items in your home might fall into the category of antiques and collectibles and possibly be worth money, check out my book, Beginner's Guide to Antiques and Collectibles. It's available on Amazon.com for $24.95.